He's wrong. It don't take much strength to pull a trigger, but try and get up every morning, day after day, and work for a living. Let's see him try that. Then we'll see who's the real tough guy. The working man is the tough guy. Your father's the tough guy.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, this is my top 5. If you've never seen this, this is a great watch. It's a very cool movie. But yeah, man, so basically at the end of the day, there's this war between the Italians and the black people. But he ends up falling in love with this black girl.
That's pretty much like West Side Story, except instead of white people and Puerto Rican people, is black people and Italians.
Yeah, I've never seen.
You never seen West Side Story was an actual musical. That's why I thought it was about to be. That's why I thought it was about to be a musical.
Nah, I've never seen West Side Story. I've never been a big musical guy, man. I remember Serafina with you don't know nothing about that. I remember Serafina with Whoopi Goldberg. That was like a big.
Wasn't The Color Purple? No, not The Color Purple.
Yo,
Sister Act.
Another. That was not a musical, big bro.
They were singing. Oh, you know. Okay, that wasn't music.
Singing. Oh my gosh. What was the joint though? Oh, Little Shop of Horror. That was the first musical I saw and didn't even know it was a musical.
You ever see the Rocky Horror Picture Show that like every fucking like hipster ass?
Never watched that shit all the way through. I mean, I see it because they play it on TV a lot, but I've changed the channel.
Yeah,
that's like white thriller to me.
It really is. I don't get what was so
like
good about it.
I was exposed to both at the same time, so it was like they would play Thriller. Because you remember Michael Jackson would have videos. That
Were you like born when Thriller came out? Thriller came out in like '83, didn't it? Or what year?
What, Thriller?
Yeah.
I'm not talking. I said that's when I was exposed.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Because
I was like, damn.
Thriller would play. They would play Michael Jackson like because you know Michael Jackson would almost have movies. They would play his shit like back to back to back.
Yeah.
One time he had this long movie with this kid and a robot, and like it was crazy, man.
In one of his music videos?
Yes, it was a kid and this kid's in the alley. No, I'll tell you which one it was. It was the extended version. I want to say of Smooth Criminal.
Oh yeah, dude, that's my favorite one.
Had a long. Remember the kid that was in, and then there was like a robot at the end. It was something crazy. There was a lot going on.
Macaulay Culkin was in one of them too. You ever?
That's white or black?
Black or white?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Talking about my baby, it don't matter. That was all right, but Smooth Criminal is probably my favorite one.
I would say. I want to say. What's the one? The way you make me feel.
The way you make. That was like the first. That was like his. No.
That's when he got light skin.
His first. Yeah, his
it was
first.
Bad. Okay, you know what? Bad is one of my favorite ones.
I'm bad.
For some reason, it's like he was like. It's like he changed complexions in that joint. Because remember, like he was like.
Oh, he definitely did.
Yeah, but also
it was in white and black, and that's when Wesley Snipes jacked him up.
He had that fucking Pepsi commercial where his face caught on fire.
His hair caught on
what?
fire.
Like for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing a pep. So you've never seen the Thanks, E.
Yeah.
You've never seen the fucking Michael Jackson movie? The one that's like 7 hours long.
Oh, you're talking about the little mini series one, the one where it like starts off when they're kids. That was good, dude. I don't remember his fucking face catching on fire.
Yeah, in the movie.
Oh my god,
dude!
But that really happened in life too, though.
Yeah.
Dude,
my sister saw my Jackson 5.
Did you say it
got him into doing all like the plastic surgery and shit?
That was it.
Yeah, dude.
Damn, dude, how did I not know?
Dude, he got fucked up. Dude, seriously?
His hair got fucked up and everything,
dude,
but his face was covered in shit. But you know, he really ended up getting vitiligo.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I never.
That's actually, he did end up contracting that. And I don't know if, I'm sorry, that may be the wrong term. I don't know if you can contract vitiligo.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it
it's
just
like
happens.
dormant or something. I think it's like offset or
wrong.
offset or whatever.
But he was changing complexion. Like,
blame it on Miller.
Like when he was a kid, he was like pretty dark, like dark black, and then not like dark black, but he was like definitely black.
Yeah.
And then when he came out with Off the Wall, which is his first album, the one that had The Way You Make Me Feel, and
you are so wrong, you dingling dummy. Off the Wall was not his first album. This is like
It
Garrett.
came out before Billie Jean.
Shouts out to Garrett P. Harvest. You know how Garrett. If you want to
Shout
have a
out
great
to Garrett, but
yo,
this is how he's wrong too.
you know how Garrett will say something so confidently wrong.
Yeah.
What was his first album?
I've been
then?
around Garrett, and I remember one time, I think it was Bill Maher. Like, he was like, yeah, they're going to have Bill Maher at the Meyerhoff Lyric. And I was like, yeah, whatever. We was all like outside of Riley's. And it was me, Eddie Lyles, Mark, and Archie. And we was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, man. I didn't even know he was a comedian, man. Like, he been doing comedy for like 5 years. He been doing that show he been doing for like forever. And we was like, what? And he was like, yeah. I was like, no, why would you take 30 years off of this man's career? And like, he just did not like it. But to him, because that's how he saw it, it was like, oh, he's going to be doing comedy a few years.
Yeah. Well, what was his first album then?
First of all, the Jackson
about
5.
Solo? Yeah.
Solo.
The Jackson
First
5
solo,
had
though.
like tons of albums.
Yeah,
But
obviously.
solo.
I'm talking about
Solo.
solo album.
Then they went to Motown, and that's when they have certain albums where their names is the Jacksons. If you ever realize that they have certain albums.
When Michael's still in it.
No, that Michael's always in the Jackson 5.
What was Michael's first album then?
But I just had to give you the history. But anyway, his first album was oh, I'm sorry, you're right. It was Off the Wall. It's just that when you said
Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
You
You just went on the whole fucking. You ever heard somebody just said something so confidently
first
wrong?
album
You
was
ever
when he
heard
was a
somebody just be
kid.
so wrong that they just say that?
You want to tell you
Damn,
what it was?
dude.
When
Man,
you
dude,
said
you
Off
sound
the
like,
Wall,
you know,
I
shout
sound
out
like
Garrett P. Harvest, but dude, you sound like Garrett.
You just fucking rocked my world right there. Just to
were
fucking
ready.
say that shit.
No. When you said Off
Damn.
the Wall, for some reason I pictured Bad. I was like, no. No.
Damn, dude, that was that was actually.
Dude, that was live. That was live. Live from the studio. Merrick Glazer.
Caught
Jimmy
Ivan
Selesky.
Martin being totally wrong. Like,
We got
totally
comedian
wrong.
Ivan Martin. You may have been confused. You might have thought that was Garrett P. Harvest.
Yo, he did that to like another
but shout
comic
out
too, though. Yo, I don't know, like, but he's just like he'll just say something wrong and he'll be confident as shit coming out of his mouth. I'll be like, man, he'll do exactly what I just did.
Dude, that's comedy.
Hold up,
That's
hold up,
fucking-
hold up,
That's
hold up.
comedy in its purest form.
I just want to get out real quick because I had like a total like point I was about to fucking make with that whole thing. And what it was when he came out with Off the Wall, which was his first solo album, he was already starting to change tone, skin color, and shit. He was already
No, I disagree. He didn't change till Bad. Because this is what happened. Bad came out, Thriller came out, then he became an adult. Like some years went by. And he was dealing with the skin problems and everything, then became an adult. Then he came back out. He was just light skinned. We was like, wow, okay. There was no transition. It was like bloop. It was like
but not as white as he is when he died. Like he was like
He was just Bad. If you can pull up the cover, Bad, he was the same.
All right, hold up. I'm gonna show you just the cover.
Bad. Look at Bad. Just look at Bad.
Right.
And he's going to be...
Bad Michael Jackson.
Not Off
Bad
the Wall.
Michael Jackson.
Boom.
All right, yeah. So he's definitely white at this point, but this is him.
And he's lighter on the cover.
Way. This is him from this video, which is his. That's him there. That's from Off the Wall.
Man, that's makeup.
I don't know why the picture's not coming out.
Yo, what album is that?
That his skin
What album is
complexion. That's from Off the Wall. I think. Hold up, one second. It might not be.
What album? What you see the thing on the right, the top right? What's that top right photo, the black and white one?
But that's in black and white, dude. You can't see if he's.
No, I'm
black
trying to
or
see, is
white.
that an album? No, it's a single, right?
Yeah. But that's from his first solo album. He's already starting to become white there.
I agree. But I think the
The
dark
Pepsi
tones-
commercial happened after that, though.
No, it didn't.
Did it not? See, that
Maybe
that
before
could be the
that.
timeline. That could be the timeline.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying, dude. I brought this up earlier. The Pepsi fucked him up, made him white.
why is E blaming Michael Jackson? He just said Pepsi fucked him up. Pepsi fucks everybody up. Just let you know.
Was he like? Did his hair like he had like hairspray or something and it caught on fire? Or had that?
Jerry curl, bro.
Oh,
Go back
shit.
to that picture. What the fuck?
Oh, you know what?
Look at that
what?
motherfucking picture. Look at that shit catching on fire. You don't think that shit gonna go up like
That shit looks flammable.
You don't think that shit gonna go up like
but
silk,
You
motherfucker?
can Google
That shit-
Michael Jackson Pepsi and probably find a picture.
Oh shit! Okay. Yeah, because
I know there was like video footage of it. I think because it was during
No,
a
it was
fucking
in the
commercial
movie.
shoot.
I don't think there's.
No, it was for a commercial shoot.
I don't think they were. I've never seen that.
Second and third degree burns on his face and scalp, dude.
Oh shit!
Yeah, dude, that shit was real.
Yo,
I've never seen that.
dude, that was dramatic.
Yeah. Brought to you by U.S. Weekly.
You stupid. Yo. That was dramatic.
For all the podcast listeners, Google Michael Jackson on fire. Michael
Y'all are
Jackson burning.
stupid.
Michael Jackson
Yo.
balding.
You can't. Yo, you
So are you saying? So
Balding
this
by
guy,
fire.
cannot talk about the king of pop that way.
this guy had that shit happen, and then he got what did you call it, vitiligo?
I mean, that's what it's called.
But I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, vitiligo.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
that both of that shit happened to him.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
And
unlucky.
he still is moonwalking on you motherfuckers.
Jesus.
Tried to take him down. With the pedophilia, saying he was diddling kids. Still moonwalking on you motherfuckers.
Do you think that like
Told
okay?
told
I was
you
like
you
kind of
give me
young.
butterflies, motherfuckers.
I was
Making
like
me nervous.
I was like in middle
was
school when that
still
whole shit
moonwalking on you.
came. Do you think that there was any substance to that whole pedophilia shit?
How old were you when OJ?
When that happened? Like 93.
Ooh, maybe in 94.
I was.
Or
I mean,
2
I was born
years
in
old.
'92. So I
2
mean,
years
I don't remember
old.
shit when it happened. I just remember like the most recent surge of like all of a sudden I gave a fuck about it again. Like
What
that
if,
new show.
Well, I
what if
remember when
people
he went
around
back
you
to
said
jail.
about the OJ thing from what you heard? Do people?
To be honest, my family personally, I don't recall them talking about it too much, but
The little bit they did.
I don't know. I would say it's probably half and half. I would say half the people I talked to think he did it, and half.
together. What about you, E?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't really delved into
Is
any
E
of
on?
that shit. I don't watch.
Is E on?
Yeah, I'm on.
I can't hear him through the speaker. Though.
I
I-
muted the speakers.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I hear it in my headphones.
Yeah, you're good.
I
I just muted the speakers.
but yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know shit about that trial or anything.
I
I-
remember when it
I
happened.
haven't even watched any of those. Like
You're talking about OJ,
spin-off
right? Not
series.
Michael Jackson, right
Oh,
now.
we know he did that shit.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think?
He did that shit.
But like, what do you think about the Michael Jackson thing?
He didn't do that shit.
So you think that was like?
So why even bring up the OJ thing?
Oh, they're both hand in hand. They're both two black celebrities that have been put through the ringer.
There was a lot of that. Okay,
But OJ did that shit.
yeah, there was a lot of evidence against OJ, but with the whole Michael
the
Jackson
glove
thing,
did not fit. You must acquit.
that was a classic.
Yeah.
But did the fucking kids who accused Michael Jackson? I feel like some of them came out and said they were like exaggerating or lying
I
or something
agree.
like that.
They did.
Do you think that was just like?
Nah. There's too many people that were. There's too many cases of people that are adults now that are just like, I never seen no shit like that. Like I was there.
What do
You know the
mean?
rap. How about I got one even better for you? You know the rapper Ab-Soul?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was on the Neverland Ranch with Michael Jackson.
Huh.
And he said it was
He
all
said
good.
None of that shit. No. He said he ain't never seen nothing like that.
Huh.
And he was one of those kids because he has a skin issue. That's why he always wears shades.
Yeah.
He's got him right there, dude.
Yeah,
That's
right,
him, dude.
exactly.
There he is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm being real, like he actually has a skin and an eye
Yeah,
problem. Yeah.
Oh.
His like eyes can burn.
Yeah, he
Like,
can't get exposed to a certain amount of sunlight. True. Like
Wow.
really. And he was born in a record store.
I want to believe that he didn't do anything. Like it just like there's no doubt that like when he got older, he definitely had like a weird like he was like that type of guy that like I wouldn't be surprised. Like he was just seemed like a creepy dude when he was older, the way he was. But
All right, I got
that
one
could
for
also
you.
be like
when people that are celebrities that have explained, like I saw Eddie Griffin do a set about him a long time ago, and shouts out Virginia House Comedy. Yeah, Robbie
Hey.
probably still owe me $50. Anyway,
Get another beer.
yeah, thanks, bro. But speakers. He said, you got to consider it. This guy was taken out of an environment where you learn how to communicate, social skills. He got taken out of school at the age of 6. Ever since then, he's been a star. So as an adult, you're going to act like you're 6 years old. You're going to act like a 6-year-old star.
Yeah.
That's what you've been all your life.
Yeah. It was actually weird because I was watching these videos of like, when we were watching those like old talk shows with like Gary Coleman. Mm-hmm. Gary Coleman was on the Arsenio Hall show. And he was just like he was still acting like he was
yeah, I fuck.
yeah, he was like still acting like he was like a cute kid, but this is like a 30-something-year-old man at this point. It was like, damn, he doesn't know how to present himself as a man. I really don't
know much about the whole Gary Cole. I wasn't old enough to know that.
Well, he was just a guy who was a child star who like he was always seen in that light, and I guess in a way he feels like that's how people expect him to be.
Yeah.
Which I give a lot of credit to Michael Jackson because he like came out of that and like transcended not from just he went from like a bomb ass kid musician like star to a bomb ass adult star. That's tough to do. So I commend him a lot for that. But it just I agree with you. I feel like that shit could have been fabricated. Like I feel like when you have that much, I'm not saying it definitely was, but if I had to bet, I'd say it was fabricated.
Yeah, you gotta imagine this, man. Before there was Jay-Z, there was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson owned the Beatles catalog.
Yeah.
Do you think that
did you know
was
that?
Yeah, I did.
You know what I'm saying?
But I didn't think about that. But now I'm thinking.
But think about how much like these guys are trying to be as rich as Michael was through music and through other strategic business strategies. You know what I'm saying? So look at the things, and they're nowhere near it. But look at the things that they put on these guys that are at that level. Oh, a part of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing this. Oh, sex cult. Oh, this. Oh, that. Oh, da-da-da. I wasn't talking about R. Kelly. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But but you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Like all these things.
Do you think, because now that you mentioned that he owned the Beatles
and then we
catalog,
have to admit, there is racism in Hollywood.
Well, what I was about to say is like, do you think that there was
want to sabotage certain people's careers?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, because once you call someone a child sex offender, like once you even bring up the accusation, it permanently changes the way people think about you.
Yeah,
and like you can totally destroy someone's character just by accusing them.
Michael Jackson came out in front of the courthouse and moonwalked on top of a Suburban.
Yeah, but
like you know what I'm saying, like he was.
But
just,
also, Bill Cosby walked out of the courthouse after getting acquitted and said, "Hey, hey, hey!" Like
true.
Literally.
That's true. He did do that.
I think that I got one good for you. If Bill is still touring 10 years from now, we won't even mention it.
Probably not. But Bill is also like 90 years old. So
so is Dick Gregory.
True.
And he's touring like a motherfucker.
True.
So all I'm saying is.
But also, I don't know. How do you feel about the Bill Cosby thing then? Or is that
like as far as what?
Like I don't know. I feel like
it. Do I think he did it?
Yeah, I feel like. I don't think all of them, but I think at least.
I think he definitely. I think he did what he said he did. He said he definitely bought drugs with the intention to use them on young ladies. I think young ladies came. I'm not sure if they were always aware of what was happening when they went there. But is the wrong word to use. However, if they were informed, then let's say, going back to what E's point is, we're saying he thinks some of them are telling the truth and some of them aren't. Or some of them are exaggerating. And that's what I'm saying. Oh, shit, my bad. Some of them
see that same thing.
Yeah, some of them realize as time went on how wrong what he was doing is. Or was. But no buts. However, at the time, these things were I don't even want to say I don't want to say permissible.
It was a different time for sure.
These things were things that were going on at that time. So let me take it to the next level. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Years from now, a young lady might want to sue you, or you, or me, because a law may change or something may come about or times may change where it's wrong to invite a young lady over with the intentions of having her drinking beer, with the intentions of having her smoking weed with you, with the intentions of, it could get so sensitive to the point with the intentions of burning sage. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, at that time, it was definitely wrong, and it's definitely wrong to invite a young lady over to your place with the intentions to get her drunk or incapacitated to any level.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
But these things are happening, and I'm trying to say, as such, nobody thinks about it from that standpoint. 10 years from now, a young lady could be like, I went over to Jimmy's house, and we smoked weed, and we had sex, and now that I think about it, now that weed is in a whole nother realm of whatever may happen, it's like,
it might have not been considered, like, that's... Dude, the thing that I don't like about all of it is so many of these cases, first of all, so many of them are past the statute of limitations. So I think there's only a couple.
I don't really feel like, and I was thinking about that the other day, I really don't agree with statute of limitations.
Well, what I was trying to make the point is that these aren't, most of these cases, the main case that we're all talking about is this, it's a class action lawsuit. It's not a criminal investigation. And
my thoughts may change
to prove guilt in a lawsuit in a civil court. You need far less evidence. It's much more, in a criminal court you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Which, when you think about it, how do you prove 25 years later that sex with someone was consensual?
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like all you really have to do,
however,
if you're a woman,
is the definition of consensual sex. Once again, if you had the intention, the premeditated intention upon taking advantage of this young lady, then already, truthfully, just like white and black, already by that notion, you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying. So I'm not saying that he's not guilty of anything. I'm saying that how many women are involved in this? How many women are
50 plus?
Yeah. How many of them are telling the truth?
We don't know. The real question is one of them even telling the truth?
That's what I'm trying to get to. And the other thing I don't like about it is, well, okay, so the first thing is, all you really have to do in order to have a solid shot in this lawsuit is not even necessarily prove that you had sex with Bill Cosby, because you can't even do forensic at this point to even prove that they had sex. All you really have to do is prove that you were in some way in contact with Bill Cosby. How else, and say that you had sex and it was not consensual, how can they say otherwise?
Yeah, that's just the pros and cons of having a dick, I guess.
But that's dangerous. And the other thing I don't like about it is the person who's leading the lawsuit is this woman named Gloria Allred, who's the same person who led the Michael Jackson lawsuits with the kids. She's the same person who led the Donald Trump lawsuits recently. She ran it against Tiger Woods. She's like a career, like, she's like one of those, she's profiting big time by taking advantage of these controversies, and it just seems very disingenuous. I mean, she's probably, I would not be surprised. In fact, I guarantee you, in an ambulance chaser kind of mentality, she's probably looking into all the women that Bill Cosby had relations with and contacting them and saying, look, you had contact with Bill Cosby in 1982, like, you can hop, I don't know, man. It's just, a lot of it seems sketchy. 50.
But I don't know.
What do you think about the Usher situation?
I feel like at least.
I'm not too familiar with
let me just wait 1 second on that, because I was actually going to talk about that in a second too. But I feel like for Cosby, in the comedy community at least, I feel like it's been kind of whispered behind closed doors that, like, people kind of heard about shit, and, like,
that's true.
So, like, it's. I think
there's a notion. You're basically saying there was a notion on the scene that this was known.
Yeah,
I heard that too. And the only thing that comes to mind is it could be very true, but also it's like, how much of that is just people being like, oh yeah, you know what, like, you know what, like, I feel like I did, yeah. It's definitely like something, like, he was always kind of like, they did the same thing with Mike.
Basically, what we're saying is,
did the same with everybody.
Basically, what you're saying is, if it was even a slight bit of it being known, and someone went over there knowing that happens, then that it's a different case. That's what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is, I can totally see, because you know how, like, when a rumor starts going around and everybody, like, people feed off drama and they want to be involved.
That's the telephone.
Exactly. And so, like, people want to be a part of shit. So if, like, I don't know, sometimes I see comedians coming out and just doing it.
It's exaggerated.
And then it's like, I don't know if it's necessarily exaggerating, but it's just like, I feel like exaggerating is giving it too much credit. I feel like, I'm not saying they're making it up, but I just see how those things, like, it's just the same thing with everybody. Like Michael Phelps goes, oh yeah, I heard he's a douchebag. It's like, It's just everybody has something to say,
Yeah.
and it's just
and
tough.
This goes back to the Usher thing too.
Which I don't. What happened with the Usher thing?
So this like,
But overall, to close this whole entire thing out, I do feel like it was wrong what he was doing and what he
For sure.
did.
yeah,
And no man or no one should actually have side agenda intentions when it comes to sex in general. Whether you do it through
Yeah.
drugs, whether you do it through drinking, like your player should be way more authentic to the point where you don't have to use those
But
type
you
of
also
methods.
you have to put
Yeah.
yourself in the context. That's the one thing I don't like is when people go back in time and judge someone based off what they did,
yeah,
ignoring
but dude,
the fact.
like it's not like everyone was fucking doing.
I'm
that.
not saying everyone was doing it, but I'm saying like different things get different stigmas as time progresses. So like for instance, in the 60s and shit, 50s and 60s, drunk driving like wasn't really a thing. It wasn't really until Mothers Against Drunk Driving came out, and so like people used to go to the bars and get fucking hammered and drive home. If they
But
did
there
that,
weren't as many cars on the road.
there
too,
weren't,
and
but what
shit
I'm
like
trying to
that.
say is if they did it
As-
now, they're looked at as like monsters. But when they did it, you can't go back to the 50s and be like, everyone who drank drive in the 50s was a monster. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was a different fucking time. I'm not standing up for Bill Cosby. I'm just saying it's a
Yeah.
common practice to go back in time and judge people off today's standards.
But it's
and
like
that's
a
not fair.
bad. It's a bad thing. It's bad timing to bring up that argument when like talking about Bill Cosby using the
Yeah.
Spanish Fly in
Yeah.
the '60s,
Because with
as
with,
if that was
with
like
all due respect,
acceptable
Jimmy, I
back
don't
then
think,
too.
I don't. With all due respect, Jimmy, I see what point you're making, but this is a bad time to make it. And the only reason I agree with E. The
Yeah.
only reason why is because, and I don't mean this time on the podcast. I mean just
Just
2
in
years
this
ago,
conversation.
2
yeah.
years ago and 2 years from now. Just because the only person you sound like you're defending is Bill Cosby.
I'm just, and I understand that, and that's why. How many times during this conversation
No,
have
no,
I said
you
I'm not
point out-
saying
you
he
point
didn't
out-
do
yeah,
anything?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm just calling to question the things that
Basically,
we're
it's the same-
accepting as automatic.
It's the same thing as if
Yeah.
right now someone says, "Yeah, I really like hip hop." You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference between a hip hop artist and a lyricist, and it's like you can't call yourself one of the best lyricists if you don't write your own lyrics. Who would we be talking about?
What do you mean?
Like just as far as ghostwriting, who's the number one without
Drake.
even saying
Neo.
Nah, Drake.
with
Oh,
the
you
whole
talk the number one like writer of music?
ghostwriting.
Oh, ghost like who
The whole
uses
alleged
ghostwriting?
ghostwriting thing.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, Drake.
So I mean, if I was to be talking about hip hop and I just mentioned that, then immediately you would think I'm talking about Drake without me even mentioning it.
Sure.
So I'm trying to say when you make that point,
Mm-hmm.
whether you like it or not, because that is the most biggest thing in pop culture, it sounds like you're defending it.
Well, and then also just
But I don't-
being
yeah.
literally on the curtail of talking about that and then going into that.
Yeah,
It's just like-
that made it worse.
It like
Wait a
it
minute.
just I don't know.
But yo, the Usher thing you were saying.
I understand where you're.
No,
coming
I don't
from
think,
and shit.
and I know you weren't.
And yeah, I'm
I
not
know you
trying
weren't defending Bill Cosby at all. I'm just trying to say
Yeah.
for when you out in public, don't do that.
I never do. I'm just trying to make this conversation as real as possible. And if I come off sounding a certain way, I can't help that.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
just.
it's not even that too. It's just, I don't know. We'll talk about it later. But on the Usher shit,
I don't even know what happened with that. What happened?
That's the off topic. Y'all can catch that behind the scenes on live from the podcast.
Yeah.
Too real.
It'll be at the end of the
Apparently.
episode.
Live
We'll
from
figure
the
out
I'm just
turn
saying,
off the
Gloria
recording.
Allred, she's
Live
on
from
top of all that
Slimy's.
shit, man. She's look her
Oh
up.
no, and it's
Look
not
her
even
up.
about that either. Because I believe she's even the one who's leading the case against Usher.
She probably is.
Yeah.
That's her career.
So maybe like 3 women have come out saying
But
that
this happened
Usher.
before, so
3
years
women
ago.
and 1 man have come out saying that
Recently.
Usher gave them herpes.
But about-
and
I wanna
then
say
one of
maybe-
them recently did a press conference where she showed up and was like da 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 da, like, you know, I got tapped by security and told me to go into the back.
Yeah,
and
she
we
said
had
she
sex
fucked
and
Usher, but she
da-da-da.
didn't get
It was my
herpes. But she's still
birthday,
suing
and
him
yada
because he
yada.
didn't tell her.
Yeah, and then but like I think a couple days before all that shit happened, she was like, "I need money" on Facebook. She was posted on
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
I need money.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I saw that
So
whole
it's
thing.
it's like that's crazy. I feel like this. I feel like Usher is going to continue to deal with this situation for a while because that's something that you can't shake. You know what I'm saying? Like people are going to continue
Yeah.
to come up. It's almost as bad as the Michael Jackson thing.
Dude,
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
like,
It's like people are going to continue to say this happened because
it's
there's
like a
no way
taboo.
of,
It's a taboo. Like, you know, like
there's
you
no way of
can't-
saying that there didn't.
Dude, if like someone gets, it's like the fucking what is it? It was the Ash fucking thing. What was it? Ring Around the Rosie. Shit.
The Black Plague.
Yeah. Like once you see someone with that fucking mark, dude,
Yeah,
they're dead.
You're talking about like
You
a
know what I mean?
like a Scarlet Letter kind of
Scarlet Letter shit, dude. Like, or like Easy A when she like put the thing. It's like, oh, they think I'm a slut. Well, I'm just gonna do this, and it's like, oh no, now they think I'm a slut.
Look, I'll just say this: the only reason I even bring these things to the table, and look, and the Usher thing's a perfect example because first of all, that's a very believable thing. That's like, I would be surprised if that wasn't true. Like, the dude's out fucking all the time. Is there any proof that he knew he had herpes? Because first of all, it's not a crime to give someone herpes if you don't know you have it. Second of all, if he did know he had it, I could totally see somebody just being shitty like that.
I'm not a professional with herpes, but I think
also,
if you have it, you'll know you have it.
For sure. Also, it's like Usher, like, what is he gonna do? Like, he's not gonna come out in a press conference and be like, guys, I don't have herpes. You know what I mean?
But no, what I'm trying to say is years ago, this came out before, and he already paid it.
I believe that this happened
in public court, that he paid someone off.
The point that I'm trying to make is for every one person that actually did experience this, there's probably like 6 or 7 people that are looking to hop on board and see what they can get out of it. And so
that's what you mean. That's your whole point.
My whole point is, like, there's a billion people. I do find it to be slightly problematic that these people get accused of something and then you're guilty by accusation, and then it's almost taboo to suggest it's not true. Like, it's literally like, oh, you can't say he didn't do that. That's offensive to the people he definitely raped, of course. And it's like, well, look, there's a billion people talking about how he's definitely guilty. I'm just saying, look, I'm just trying to raise some kind of. Nobody's listening to shit anyway. Also,
no. Overall,
also, he's a huge fan of the Cosby Show.
I did. First of all, I loved the Cosby Show, but I just see this happen. It's such a recurring thing, like with Michael Jackson. It's just happens so much that people just hop on board, and it just ruins these people's fucking everything. It sucks, dude. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
I mean, someone could take apart something I said during this conversation and be like, "Oh, Ivan's da da."
And if you ever become important enough, they will. They will. I'm saying.
I'm now.
Once you have enough money that people see a way to get out of it. That's the other thing that bugs me about what we were talking about with Michael Jackson earlier. Is like, dude, own the Beatles catalogs. Like, I mean, I could see somebody being like, yo, I need to take this motherfucker out. Like, he won't sell me the rights to my own fucking music. Like, there's got to be some kind of animosity there. If somebody just had the rights to all the fucking podcasts and was like, nah, fuck you, dude. I own this shit now.
I mean, that's the story of everything, though. Somebody gets mad because they can't get what they want, and they find out another way to get it. You have two types of people.
And nobody's calling out Paul McCartney.
You have two types of people.
Nobody's saying, like, Paul, what are you up to, dog?
You got the type of people. We all want to have the biggest house on the block. Some people are going to work hard, and they're going to do what they have to do, and they're going to build up over time. At one point in time, because somebody else is going to always build something bigger, but at one point in time, they will have the biggest house on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you got other people that'll just say, fuck it, I'll just buy everybody else's house and make theirs smaller and just build one normal size house. And now everyone else's house is small. You know what I'm saying? I'll change this whole subdivision. You know what I mean? It's like different people do things different ways. You know what I'm saying? And so there are people that see somebody else that's winning and says, I'm going to buy this whole, I'm going to buy everything. And then, people play Monopoly different.
I hear you. No, I agree with you. Something's fishy, dude. That's all I'm gonna leave it at. Something's fucking fishy.
And that's exactly. I'm saying the same thing you're saying. I'm just trying to say, I do feel like there are strategic parties behind a lot of sabotage when it comes to.
There has to be, dude. When you're talking about that much money, there's a lot of people involved, and just like
it's like the same thing that happens in political campaigns. There's smear campaigns,
exactly.
And I mean, you can look at it look at it as something we can all understand. Look at it like the comedy scene or the music scene. You know what I'm saying? You got maybe 3 to 5 people that run shit. You know what I'm saying? If you're cool with these 3 to 5 people and get anything from these 3 to 5 people, then on the club scene and on the comedy circuit, you'll move up like that.
It's kind of the same thing we were talking about earlier. With how two hot girls, they could be catty to each other and something, but when they don't view you as somebody that threatens them, they're perfectly willing to be cordial and stuff like that. It's I feel like once you have something.
You said that.
Yeah, I said that, but course I said that. Dude.
Remember when we said bitches beat? Like, no.
I don't think we've ever said anything. I don't think we've ever said anything in unison. But but when I said that shit, I'm talking about damn, dude, every fucking time.
A moth?
No, I just get thrown for a fucking loop in the
Yeah.
middle of my fucking point. But like once you have something, once you're the guy who's running shit, you all of a sudden go from the guy that everybody's like, hey man, good job, to like now you got something they want. Now they're after you. Now they're no longer behind you necessarily.
True.
There's a lot of jealousy. People get jealous. Like, how come he's getting this? How come that's
man.
happening to him? How come it's not happening to me?
That's like why
mean-
fucking all these up and coming rappers die and shit, dude.
Yeah, exactly. That's just the way it is. Sharks in the water, dude. And when you get to that level,
What you fail to realize is I feel like it's a level on every. It's people talk about levels, right? But it doesn't mean okay. Levels are levels, but we can all agree it's the same.
It's the
shit
same rule.
that's happening.
Same shit.
Or, you know,
But it's
like-
just happening on a bigger level.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
different scale.
That's it. So I mean, this is happening everywhere. You know what I'm saying? There are people that are strategically plotting against you. There's people that's like, man, why Jimmy getting them gigs? Why Jimmy booking this? Why is E doing that? Why is E doing that? Why is Ivan doing this? Why is I mean, and you know, I mean, I'm not on the level of people be like, oh, I love my haters. Nah, I mean, it's like I'm just trying to say I do understand that you have opposition.
Yeah,
with
dude.
everything. There's pros and cons of everything. There's no such the statement where they say no good deed goes unpunished. You know what I'm saying? When you do something good for somebody, you gotta also realize, you know, you're taking away time from time you could be doing something for yourself.
That's true.
You know, or something else, or you know, but I mean, you do it out of the kindness of your heart, or you do it because you want to help someone, and that's what you sacrifice, and that's what it is. And you know, just to be successful, you do have to sacrifice a lot.
Real quick, because I didn't know what the whole Usher thing is about. But what is the? I don't like follow up on this shit. But what is the R. Kelly thing about? All I know is it's a sex cult type
so
thing.
there's like 6 women that are all over the age of 18, but some of them are like just 18, and they're all in contact with their parents. They don't want to go back home to their parents. Their parents are contacting them. They don't want to. Women have came on. Oh, I'm not sure if it's women, but I think one young lady came on and was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I'm not being held captive. I'm doing just fine. All this other type of stuff. And, you know, other young ladies have came out and been like, yeah, it's like that. He makes me put my phone away, and he'll come pick me up. He'll fly me out.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but
I
he
think,
has like a harem. Basically, he has like a harem.
Yeah. Well, one of them, the one parents that were vocal about it were like, yeah, like we knew about his past and we saw the video of him peeing on that girl, but our daughter really wanted to be a singer and he wanted to take her under his wing and
And then after that,
It's like,
she's over 18 and he started having sex with. I'm not saying it's right.
Is it illegal?
But
Is it
also,
illegal?
it's like-
It's
but now,
legal.
like,
Then what's the
I feel
fucking
like
problem?
I feel like that. I don't know.
I mean,
What's the problem?
I'm gonna sound like a dick, but like, what if those parents were like, "Oh, our daughter, she's gonna be famous. That's gonna be our meal ticket." And now she's just like with R. Kelly. And
Yeah, they
they're
probably
like,
sold her
"Fuck,
off."
Then
I
what are
don't
we gonna
think-
get now?
I don't
dude?
think. I don't really see that sentiment because it's like I don't feel Jimmy's sentiment either. But
What
I
was
mean,
my sentiment?
There's nothing wrong with it.
What's wrong with it? Explain to me what's wrong with it.
There literally,
is
when it
kinda
comes
weird.
down to our
It's
rule book
weird.
of society, yeah, it is weird, but there is nothing wrong with it. Because you want to know who
Yeah.
else did the same thing? Hugh Hefner.
Yeah,
and
yes, he
also,
did. And everybody loves
Charles
Hugh Hefner.
Manson and
Yeah, but the thing
Hugh
is,
Hefner did it the right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like R. Kelly's not raping them. He's
Oh,
not
yeah.
holding them against.
is he
their-
raping?
you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Like, I don't understand. Like, besides just the fact that it's weird and we just want to talk shit about people like, oh, yeah, R. Kelly's doing
I
some
think it
weird
all
shit.
comes down to like
It's his
right,
fucking
we're
life.
living
And
in a-
it's their life and they're living it.
We're living in a time in a society right now where people have the right to destroy you just because they feel offended.
yeah,
Okay.
And basically, that's all everything is right now. It's like Dave Chappelle said, it's the age of the spin. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I can spin this in a way where you're offending me, then I can take all the power away from you.
Yeah,
because
'cause I'm the
I'll
victim.
find other people that will
Latch
follow
onto it,
me
yeah.
while I'm victimizing this situation
Yes.
and making you look like the aggressor or
Yes.
the predator.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, like that type of shit is the type of shit that makes me be like, man, let me listen to this podcast before we put it out. Because it's like, no, I'm serious. It's like somebody could really feel like, oh, right here, I haven't said da 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 da, and it's like, man, you don't. The things that I've been seeing lately.
If anybody's getting in
gonna
trouble
mention
for
this
what they said,
person's
it's
name.
definitely me.
I'm not going to mention this person's name, and E, you know who I'm talking about. But I don't want to mention this person's name. But someone had a show recently, and it was comedians that have been telling the same material forever, and the crowd was just so disconnected. I just think they didn't know what they were getting, to the point that they made it to the point that they were offended. You know what I mean? And
Like they just weren't getting the humor behind it, or
I would say that the comic may have stepped over the bounds, because comedy is an art form, and you have the right to look at it and say it offends you, and you have the right to look at it and say you agree with it, or you relate to it, or it makes you laugh.
mm-hmm.
And I think that these people not these people, I'm so sorry, but the audience members had the right to say they, felt offended. And I would say, not knowing this person, their material may have came off offensive. And, it was just a lot of backlash. And I think it would all be solved if we had more conversations.
Exactly.
It's like a lot of times people end up getting offended by accident. They
just put up a wall, and they're like,
it's like, this person did not mean to offend you. It's just that I don't think that they've been updated with the rule book.
I think people are looking to be offended.
The thing is, the rule book changes every week. Mm-hmm. It feels like you can't do this now. You can't do that anymore. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have an issue with you telling me, you know what? I don't like it when you say this. I know I used to like it I know I used to like it, but honestly, I don't like that anymore. Can you please stop that?
It's
cool.
Fair.
I tell you what, I can stop that. But let me know. Mm-hmm. You can't just agree within your own circle and say this is a new rule, and then after that have no form of there's no actual form of communication other than making a mistake. It's kind of like,
as a comic, do you think it's your job to cater to the audience?
A percentage?
Sure, a percentage.
Yeah, a percentage, but not to the point where I'm persuading who I am.
Exactly. So if you're saying the rules change every week, I agree, and I feel like especially
but I think a lot of people would get along more, and these rules wouldn't be broken. Like, what I'm trying to say, there is no chalkboard, or there's no community board for you to go to and find out what are these new rules.
It's just a social thing, yeah.
The only way you find out is when you make the mistake.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And that's not fair. That's the equivalent of the government saying, hey, there's a list of laws, but we only going to tell you about it when you get locked up.
Yeah, when you fuck up.
Well, as a comic, you kind of have a sense. You kind of have a sense of like where you can go and where you can't go. But I feel like it's almost to a point.
No, you don't.
I mean, I'm just okay. Well,
contingent upon what type of social lifestyle you live in, you do. But the type of social lifestyle you live in they ain't got shit to do with the material you want to. I mean, if regardless of whatever social lifestyle you live, I should not have to update myself on all these things to be a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
I should be able to go on stage and tell my perspective.
Sure.
But because now people are so offended by certain things, I have to kind of know what is the new rules. And what I'm trying to say is there is nowhere to find out the new rules.
What comic ever made it big by not pushing the boundaries? What comic ever made it big by not breaking those rules?
That's my point. Pushing the boundaries and breaking rules now ruins your career. Whereas back in the day, it was considered you could take risks back then because it was okay.
It's because people let it ruin their career, because when somebody speaks up and says something, everyone else is too afraid to go, look, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, instead, everybody's just like, oh my God, I want to side with you and all play into this whole victimhood shit. When in reality, people are allowing it to become that way. Because it's the same mentality that why you were earlier were like, yo, like, you can't say that here. It's like, why the fuck not? If somebody listens to this and thinks I think a certain way, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. If you want to know how I think about it, ask me. But people are so afraid because there's a fucking coalition out there that when they go to a comedy show, their primary reaction that they're ready for is to be fucking offended.
I think your give a fuckness comes from the fact that you have that. It ain't got nothing to do with it. I mean privilege of ain't got nothing to do
Of
with
not
skin
being
color,
white.
white or black.
Yeah, but you're not white,
It
so
don't
that's
have
why you
nothing to do
feel
with that.
that
I'm
way.
saying I think because
So I don't
honestly, you're
understand
at
what
a
you
point.
guys are talking about.
You're at a
Full
point in
white.
your career right now where things are blossoming and blooming, and you can still chart the course.
Sure.
And that's a level where you haven't gained certain things or accomplished certain things that you feel like, since I've done this, now I have to continue to be upstanding.
Yeah, or not even that, but you just have to keep you want to be able to keep taking steps up, and you don't want to be knocked back a couple of them.
Exactly.
Like,
So what I'm
because
trying
you like see each of those steps, and you're like, yo, I made.
Okay, so how about
I made
this?
it all the way up here. I like
what you're doing
if I
now
fall?
with your music and all your gigs and everything like that, and with your engineering skills and all this, you end up picking. Cool. You end up picking up a gig working at a popular radio station. You get shots out all the time. You got pull, and now you got executive heads looking at you.
Sure.
You can't not give a fuck now.
I understand not giving a okay, so here's my thoughts.
That's
on that.
what. Do you agree with me on that though?
Yes, I do agree with
That's
you.
what I'm saying.
But there's different levels of okay. So I actually had a conversation earlier with my old boss. I was chilling there drinking, and he was there, and we were talking, and he said, "Yo, I've been listening to your podcast, but like, you cuss like way too much, like unnecessarily." He was like, and what you do when you do that is you limit your market, because once you start cussing that much, somebody wants to listen to you in their car while they're driving, their kid home from school or something like that. You've automatically X'd that person out of your market because they can't listen to you while they have their kid in their car. And I was like, I understand you to a point. And, like I basically said, like, I don't want to become completely clean because sometimes cursing seems natural, like, and I don't want to limit the conversation by avoiding certain words, but I do understand the concept of like, look, you kind of got to bend a little bit. I can understand bending in that way, but what I can't understand is when people say you just can't talk about this thing. It's fine if they say, look, you can't cuss and stuff like that because you're on a syndicated radio station. That shit makes sense, and I have to respect that. But when people start limiting the conversation, that's when it becomes like, how much am I concerned with my career? How much am I willing to compromise myself to take the next step? If you made it real big and you're becoming really successful and you're faced with the option of like, look, I either have to completely change who I am and what I talk about, or I'm never going to get a fucking gig again.
I mean, that's realistic.
It is. And so how much integrity do you have to just, like, at what point do you just go, I'm sorry, I just can't do
How
that?
about this? There comes a point in your career where you gain a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And this fan base is small, and it becomes medium, and it becomes large, and becomes extra large, becomes double X, and on and on. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. At one point, you can expose other layers of yourself. And this isn't like any other art form, you know what I mean? So you it's a lot of FaceTime in comedy. It's a lot of in front of your face. Whereas with music, with music, there's a lot of videos. You can avoid there's characterization. That's really what I'm going for. Yeah. With comedy, there's no characterization. The person that you are on stage is the person that you, unless you're carrot top. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ideally, you're the person
type of
on
comic
like,
that you are. You know what I'm saying? So
Gallagher or some shit.
Exactly. But as time goes on, you expose more layers of yourself, and you can take those risks of saying opinionated thoughts that you know are contrary to the natural belief. And the reason why you can take those risks at that point is because your fan base is so large, they want to get to know more of you. And regardless of what you say, they're rocking with you.
But they already like have known you for so long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, even if you say something, it's like at first, if College Dropout would have been College Dropout, you would have never liked Graduation.
True. I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you had to like College Dropout and Late Registration for you to give even a chance or acceptance to Graduation, because it was a totally different sound. It was risky. It was da-da-da. But he didn't just come out and just be like boom and boom. You know, that was almost 3 to 5 years between those projects. It sounded totally different.
Yeah. And that's a phenomenon that happens in comedy and music, especially in music. You know, people always talk about like, there are people who are like, oh man, like I like their first couple albums, but now their like new stuff sucks and stuff like that. And it's really like, one of my favorite bands, Goo Goo Dolls.
I feel like that happens, or when that happens, I feel like that happens because they didn't develop that core fan base first?
Well, no, I think a lot of it. I think more so it's because
Or the core fan base wasn't big
people are exposed to you in a certain way, just like they were exposed to Michael Jackson in a certain way, Gary Coleman, and they expect you to be that person they first met, and they don't acknowledge that. Look, like the guy, like I was saying, the guy from the Goo Goo Dolls, John Resnick, was like, look. When you guys first heard my stuff, I was, 26 years old, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm 40-something now. I'm not going to write the same music. I'm not concerned with the same things. I have a different life. I'm a different person at 42 years old. I'm growing as a person, and people expect me to be the same fucking person that they were introduced to in 1996.
So
you're supposed to keep on pretending to be that person?
We're not saying the same thing. What I'm trying to say is there are factors that go into keeping your fan base as you grow. You have to be.
I agree with that.
You have to be consistent, and they have to grow larger and bigger with you.
Yes.
Let's take somebody like a Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
It's like as time went on, not only did he gain more fans, his material became more mature, and it grew with him. This last album, he's talking about the album before this last one. He's talking about dapping people up while they playing basketball on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like, I own the team. I don't care if they win. You know what I mean? But he's still evolving, and we rock with him because, he's Jay-Z. But, I mean, He's talented. He's there. But it's something that he did in the very beginning that made us say, I'm going to stick with him. And I'm trying to say, if you don't develop that in the very beginning and stick with that consistently, you can fall off for a year or 2 to 3 years, whatever your pace is, you can fall off and never get them back the way you got them.
I would say that a lot of the reason, so you brought up Kanye, you brought up Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. I would say that element that you're talking about, that element that makes people go like, all right, like
I'm sticking with you forever.
Yeah.
No matter what.
That element, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that quality is people start to gather that you're your own fucking person, and so they're ready to grow with you. You look at a guy like Kanye, people like Kanye because he doesn't play into that shit. People like Kanye because he does. People like Jay-Z because he doesn't play into that shit.
But people like Chance, and he does play into that shit.
Yeah, but the question is, does Chance have the kind of core fan base that's going to follow him to the next stage?
Obviously, he's the first rapper to be independent and get a Grammy.
Okay, but how long has he been in the game?
Last 6-7 years.
Okay, so how long is Kanye?
And before that, I would
Jay-Z?
I say 10 years. Honestly. Chance. It's just that we didn't hear about him.
Sure. But how long was he in the public eye?
No,
6 years ago.
He did the 10-day mixtape. Yeah, 6 years ago.
6 years ago. So I'm talking. So 6 years.
He was rapping in high school and everything like that before.
That was it though.
That's his first project. I'm trying to say he was rapping before that. I'm not gonna say because he didn't put out a special until then.
But dude, I fucking freestyled since in high school. I'm not a rapper, you know.
Yeah, I'm not.
But that's what makes it not count, though.
I'm not shading on Chance, but I'm asking you: do you think that 6 years is long enough to say that he stood the test of time?
With what he's accomplished,
when you compare,
yes.
When you compare it to somebody who's been in the game like Jay-Z, Kanye, somebody like that, do you think 6 years is long enough to say, oh no, he's already progressed to a whole bunch of different levels? So, like, you really don't know. I would like to believe that, yes, I like Chance the Rapper a lot.
So what we're saying is just a normal chronological answer.
Because honestly, a lot of people have been hating on Chance recently.
You think 10 years from now we'll still be listening to Chance?
I
think so.
I hope so, because I like him.
So.
That's my whole point.
I don't think so.
If his whole thing is that he's playing
I think 10 years from now we'll be listening to J. Cole.
Yes. And another guy, the only thing that goes against my point.
I think 10 years from now we might be listening to Uzi.
I would say so. Lil Uzi's on something. But
I think if he continues to become a rock star.
You know who I'm surprised kind of fell off that like really was known for just being his own person was Wiz Khalifa. He just completely fell off.
I disagree.
I don't know.
I think he went back to. I think he's like you say he's setting up.
I think he's setting up.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a long setup.
Dude, he had that fucking. He had
the biggest hit of
but that was
statue.
Was that?
That's
did you fuck with that? Did you fuck with?
Dude, that was on the radio.
Whether you fucked with it or not.
All right, what I'm trying to say is
with you.
Wiz Khalifa. Okay, that's like okay, fair enough.
I
but
fucked with it when it first came out. Dude. You can't tell me you didn't fuck with that when that first came out.
First of all, I'm be honest with you. I really didn't. With it. I really didn't fuck with it.
But
it's cheesy to me, and it
lies from the studio.
No. It seemed exactly like like some corporate exec, like, all right, Wiz, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put you up with this new YouTube star.
He said
Just
it
popped
already.
off.
He said the song was sent to 3 other people.
Yeah.
And he said he
It was
just
sent to like Wale and a couple
he
other
said-
people.
he
Yeah, they're looking for somebody to fuck. That's not Wiz. Come on, that's not Wiz.
I didn't say it was Wiz, but we're saying relevancy. He's relevant as a mother. He didn't fall off.
I almost view
But
those
it
as
wasn't
two separate
it's
games.
not the cushion orange juice warm up. No.
The game I hear on the radio versus
Dude,
the game I
honestly,
hear
Wiz
everywhere
on
else.
Ugly God's new song, Lies, that's fucking Cushion OJ Wiz right there.
I agree.
For sure.
I will give you yes. The whole Long Day thing was a big hit. It also kind of played big time off the Fast and Furious movie, and they had the whole fucking video be Paul Walker, and like
Yeah.
that has a big.
That was like
I don't
a
think he
cultural
fell off at all.
milestone.
I don't
Yeah, it
think
was.
He fell off at all. I don't think he fell
At
off.
all, dude. When he first came out,
Dude,
it was
Black
a
and Yellow
phenomenon.
was his first big mainstream hit. I feel
Yeah.
like he was
But he was out for it.
underground.
He was
And I
out
feel
for
like
it.
he
No,
went
he
downhill
underground.
after Black
He
and
went
Yellow.
underground. He was mainstream.
No, he
just wasn't
had
popular.
a WB deal, but so did fucking Currency, and Currency
And
is
so did
still
Kendrick
pretty
Lamar.
underground.
Kendrick Lamar was signed to Def Jam back in the
Yeah.
day. Nobody knows that. Kendrick Lamar was shelved back. He was signed
Well,
before.
dude, same. Well, that happened to like Los too. Everyone was fucking super huge with Los in Baltimore, and like he got signed to P Diddy, and he's like, "Oh shit, he's in Bad Boy." Like,
And then he
shit's
was on
actually
some
gonna pop
videos of
off.
French Montana and everything.
But you know that people get shelved. It sucks. Same shit with Jay Dilla, right? Jay Dilla.
I'm not sure.
When you're talking about fire tracks
Have more
of the
info.
past
Yeah,
year,
yeah,
fire
yeah,
tracks
he's
from
fucking
rappers
dope.
and
Yeah,
shit.
Jay Dilla
I'm thinking
dope
of,
as shit.
Let me ask you a serious question. When you're talking about tracks that like people like in the game are respecting, you know, they're coming on Sway, they're doing stuff like that. Are you really about to bring fucking When I See You Again to the table?
No.
All right, that's my point. It was a fucking pop hit. It was the equivalent of a fucking Ariana Grande song. I want to hear about how that shit is. Oh, he still got it. Like he fucking did a cookie cutter pop song. He hasn't done something real, in my opinion, since Black and Yellow.
But real don't get you paid always.
That's what I'm saying. What's the compromise? Because you don't want to end up like Wit.
Gotta pay bills.
Kanye gets
Gotta
paid.
pay bills.
Kanye gets paid. Jay
But
Z
do you
gets
wanna
paid,
end
and they're
up
real as fuck.
Fall off or what?
Huh?
What do you want to do? Do you want to fall off?
I'd
or-
rather fall off than be someone I'm not. Because that's
I
the
don't
ultimate
think-
falling off.
I don't think he's being
But
someone
I don't
he's
know.
not.
If you think it,
I don't
if
think
you
he's
think
being
of
someone
it
he's
as
not
in,
on
like,
that song.
The
I
acting
think he's
world,
just
though?
putting. I think Jimmy, if somebody comes to you right now and says, "I like that song. I like that voice. I need you to sing this song," and the song isn't offensive. Matter of fact, the song is the same exact song.
I'm not ragging on him. I'm not ragging on him for doing the
Would
song.
you do the song?
Yeah, I'm not ragging on him.
But your
for-
fans would be doing podcasts saying, "I want the old Jimmy back."
Yeah, but it would be one thing if I did the song and was still doing other shit. But if I'm exclusively doing that corny ass shit, then yeah, I would totally
But
side
he's
with
not
them for.
exclusively doing that corny ass shit.
I haven't heard any non-corny shit out of Wiz for a
Ooh.
He
while.
put out a mixtape after that with TM88 and another producer. Beats were crazy.
When?
It was after that. It was towards the end of last year. Seriously.
All right, I'm gonna concede that maybe Wiz is still doing shit. I haven't been like super like
But you
paying
gotta-
attention,
you gotta
so
also,
maybe.
you gotta also realize,
Just saying,
man,
I haven't-
in the hip hop and the rap industry though, man, that moves so fast.
Exactly. Nobody's talking about Wiz. But like, look, a
It
guy like
moves so
B.O.B.
fast,
B.O.B. was an example of somebody who was hit with the decision: you want to be someone you're not, or you want to be you. And he chose being him, and that cost him his career potentially. I mean, what happened? I loved B.O.B. when he came out. He did a couple corny songs, but they were I liked the one he did with Bruno Mars, "Nothing on You."
That was good. That was
And
good.
I got the magic. I like that song too. They were all right. They were better than long whatever the fuck Charlie Puth shit, Wiz Khalifa thing. But
How do you feel about Calvin Harris, that new album? I feel like every song sounds alike.
Yeah, it does.
probably does. But I mean,
It's all like calculated radio hits.
what was the song that Calvin Harris came out with back in like 2012? That was like
I would love to know like what he looks like. I really do not know that dude because it's like people been saying he's been out for a while, but it's like I don't remember.
he
nothing.
has. He's like one of
He's
the
just like an electric, like a EDM, like
Daft
DJ
Punk
guy.
is my favorite. Electric.
Daft Punk's sick.
Is my favorite electric. Like anything techno electric.
They've been around for a minute too.
Yeah,
They've been around. I think since the 80s almost.
been around for a
Maybe
minute,
yeah,
dude.
maybe 90s, but still, it's a long ass time.
Like they were doing shit like together before Daft Punk. Like,
Damn.
without the masks, they're like French DJs and shit. Like they're just
Exactly.
fucking crazy.
Dude, honestly, I'm be real. If I got to a point where I had some decent money and I could from that point on take it to invest in other things, if it
You
came
probably wouldn't do music anymore.
no, if it came down, I will do music as long as it's me. because that's the only way it counts to me. It's like, what's the fucking point? Once you're no longer putting yourself out there, then why are you still an artist? You're just an artist to keep making money. Like and that's cool because it's a business just like anything else. I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying personal preference. It just wouldn't make sense. I just couldn't do it. And I almost, as an artist, I have more respect for those who value the integrity of their work more than the money they make off of it. And that's a common sentiment.
But let's take Dave Chappelle, for instance, right? That move that he pulled by not taking the $40 million and then not doing the show, and then coming back and getting like $60 million or whatever number he got.
Yeah, for 3 specials.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was a good.
And
That's
he already
a
had
move,
2 of
to
them.
you, that's a move of integrity, right?
Yeah.
All right. How many times do you think before that though things didn't go that way? Before he got to a point where he was like, all right, they're not going to go this way anymore. And I'm just trying to say that, I'm not trying to say he kissed any ass. It's not about that. I'm just trying to say, no, people that are like, I ain't taking no shit, don't get anywhere.
Well, okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. And I'll say
you
that
have to take some shit.
you do. When you're still a nobody, you do. You can't just be fucking nobody and just from the fucking
Like,
jump.
I ain't taking no shit.
Yeah. Like because at that point it's a respect thing. Because when you're a fucking nobody and people who aren't nobodies are trying to put you on, you have to get a little bit of respect to that because they don't need you. You kind of need them in a way. I mean, it is mutual, but like for me,
There's
it's like if somebody
of respect that's should be there,
if somebody
but I
was
feel
like, "Yo, we could take the podcast to the next level. We got to give you a production team and stuff like that." But like, here's a couple things. I would have that conversation. But once you get to a point where it's like, all right, like,
nah, I ain't talking about shit like that. I'm talking about like ego integrity shit. Like, all right, we need you guys to come up to New York and da-da-da-da. And you guys get to New York and they don't pick up the phone for 2 hours. And you guys are waiting there. And then they pick up like, yeah, sorry, man, I was eating some dinner.
knowing me,
Anyway.
I'd probably brush that off.
But I'm saying there's going to be at one point in time a Jimmy that won't. Like, how the fuck you got to be waiting?
Maybe not. I mean, that's a hypothesis. That's a hypothesis.
Now we're talking about levels. Remember,
I'm saying, but if we're talking about levels, if I don't do that now,
at one point
why would I do that then?
Because it's different levels. Remember, you see what you see? Tell the listeners you're shaking your head. Yes,
I'm shaking my head. That yes,
because
it's a possibility for sure.
As you grow, I'm not trying to say you're gonna become a dick, but I'm trying to say the shit that Jimmy used to put up with, he won't.
Sure. Of course.
And it may not be waiting for 2, but it'll be something.
So how can you be going through your career and start to put up with more shit?
We're saying the same thing. I agree with you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's no such thing. I appreciate integrity too. I'm not trying to say people purposefully sway or persuade or give up their integrity. I'm just trying to say, along the lines, your integrity. I don't even know if integrity, but the fact that you won't let anybody take advantage of you grows.
Yeah,
sure.
Well, I think
there's certain ways you'll let somebody take
and
advantage of you now that you won't let take advantage of you later. It just won't. You just won't put up with that shit anymore.
Yeah, well, it's like it happens to you once. It's like touching a hot stove. You're never gonna do it again because it fucking burns you. You know what I mean?
Dude, the people that we're talking about, we've brought up a lot of names. The one thing that I feel like the most successful artists in any industry do, and music is a little bit different than comedy, because comedy is one of those things where you can literally still be fire and famous when you're like well into old age. Like George Carlin was popping, Louis C.K. is almost 50, Bill Burr's 50 something. Like comedy is a completely different ballgame. With music, it's like at a certain point, and I will say it's kind of changed because Kanye is 40, Jay-Z's around that.
It's like 44, Jay-Z's like on his way to 50.
It's like. But at some point, the musicians, all the people we're talking about, Michael Jackson, Jay-Z, Kanye, they also make a move into starting to secure the business aspects of, like, you don't want to be a fucking performer your whole life. You don't want to be a trick pony your whole fucking career. At a certain point, you have to step and realize, look, okay, I've built up enough experience that I'm worth something on my own. And so at a certain point, you gotta leave the fucking plantation. It's like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, but I don't know.
You gotta leave the plantation coming from Jimmy. But yeah,
I
feel you.
But also, like, I don't know. I feel
basically,
like I see people jump over to that side too soon sometimes, and I feel like that fucks up too.
I agree.
What I mean?
It's kind of like,
If you suck, then yeah. Then you were just wrong. then you just weren't as good as you thought you were. I mean, you
But
can't help
for
that.
some people, they don't find out they suck until it's too late.
We're all gonna find out sometime.
You know, and I mean, I don't think there's a such thing as remaining to suck. I feel like you can suck at one point, and
But tell me what Dave Chappelle did wasn't. I mean, dude, the dude was
agree,
gone
it
for like
was.
years, and he
I
came
agree
back and he
with
was
it
bigger
was.
than he.
But do you know from the words? I mean, do you know they used to call him Pilot Boy back in the day?
Yeah, but he was a kid, dude. He got into that shit when he was like 19.
I'm just trying to say
You're still a boy.
I'm just trying to say he took lumps.
Yeah, dude.
And then at one point, he got in a position where he didn't have to anymore. And then at one point,
And
he got
that's
in a position that it was like he saw it from a totally different the game. He saw it from a totally different perspective, and he was like, "I get it now, and you're not going to take advantage of me like that."
Look at a guy like Louis C.K. Fucking records his own special, puts it out himself. That's real shit. Somebody else would have. Okay, Netflix, here you go. And who do you, Louis?
But
saying,
Louis
dude.
had. But once again, Louis. Look at how many Netflix specials Louis had before he did that.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying that it is something that you should never ever consider doing. I'm saying that you guys, I feel like, are saying that as you go through your career, more people are expecting stuff out of you, that you become more compromising. I'm saying, how the fuck do you become more compromising?
I'm not saying that. What I'm
No,
if
he
I
was saying the opposite. He was
Yeah.
saying that the more people know you, the more they
leverage
will,
you have
Yeah.
Oh,
to take those risks.
all right. Well, that's what I was saying too.
Yeah. I told you I was agreeing with you. But anyway, yeah. The bigger you get, the more. So ultimately, regardless of what it is you're doing or what you do, at one point as you evolve, you're gonna just like kind of become a bigger beast and just not put up with the same shit anymore. And then at one point you'll understand. It's like when you're learning to play chess. The more you play, the better you know how to use pieces. And then at one point, you become so good, you can see the person you're competing against. You can see the moves before they make them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you understand the game.
And also, it is. You're
that
right.
much.
It's levels. It's like there's a certain. It's weird the way your mind perceives things. Because like, I'm gonna use chess as an example because it's very convenient you brought it up because I play fucking chess all the time on my phone. Big fan. And you start out as like 300 level, and you start playing these. I remember playing like a 500 level guy, and just like thinking that was tough. Then all of a sudden you get to a point where you're a 600 guy, you play a 500 guy, it's a fucking joke. But like you still see it the same way. It's like your mind is always thinking the next thing is something else, but it never is.
It's just the same shit on another level, on a bigger level, literally.
Yeah.
And it's hard if you're not ready for that for you to adjust.
Yeah.
You know, because you'll have to say no to certain people that you weren't comfortable with saying no to before. You have to say yes and set yourself up with certain positions that before you weren't comfortable with talking to these people and putting yourself in a position to the point where you could be saying yes. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing I can say from my experience, it becomes way easier when you know what you want. And if you have good intentions.
You gotta know who you are. You gotta know your worth, and right, you gotta have good intentions.
If you have good intentions, a lot of things will happen on its own.
Good intentions kind of go hand in hand with just being a good, honest. I mean, good intentions. If you have good intentions, you're gonna be good and honest by everyone you meet. If your intentions are good.
Okay, yeah. If your intentions are good, yeah.
If your intentions are good, you're gonna be a good person, and I think that's the main thing. I mean, actions. I don't want to say actions. Always necessarily follow intentions, because there is that
They should though.
they should, but there is that saying where it's like we judge others by their actions and ourselves by our intentions. It's like sometimes what you mean to do isn't how people perceive it, which is the same thing when we talk about the whole comedy thing and knowing the limits. It's like sometimes what you think you can say, and sometimes you literally didn't. Like when these comics say those jokes, they're not trying to offend people. I don't think anybody's trying to bomb. Bless you. They're trying to. Okay, what can I say here?
Yeah. I mean, literally, this game is about, as you said, taking risks and saying certain things that most people are not necessarily afraid to say, but want to say, but don't. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily coming from fear, but sometimes it just comes from them not feeling like they're comfortable enough, or they don't have enough awareness, or they don't have enough information. But comics are the ones that are supposed to be that conduit to that. You know,
Yeah.
I feel. And if we continue to get stripped of being able to make mistakes, then nobody's going to be informing anyone anymore. You know what I mean? I think that
Yes.
I think that we should be being informed by our audience as much as our. Hold on, I'll give it a second. But yeah, I think we should be being. I think not be being. I think we should be informed by our audience as much as we inform our audience.
Yes.
So there, instead of, if we make a mistake, our audience punish us. You know what I mean? Try to punish us for it. It's like, you know, when somebody says something. You know, it's like there's no suggestion box for comedians. You know what I'm saying? There's no there's no conduit. The same way that there's no chalkboard or poster board for these are the new rules. We don't like it when you say this now. We understand that years ago we used to even call ourselves this. You know what I'm saying?
But comedians are a group of people who people look to actually tell them what is appropriate and what's not.
I mean,
look at a guy like George Carlin. When he first came out, he
George
came out.
Carlin could not do the material that he did back then right now.
George Carlin would have been fucking
Which is
ostracized.
crazy.
No. What'd you say?
He would have been ostracized.
You think so? I don't remember him saying.
Yeah.
I don't remember him saying anything.
We're both
like,
comics.
Okay, I'm okay.
I'm just trying to say that. By that being said, we've seen certain things that George.
He would have
Carlin,
been called like a fucking kooky old man and be like, "Oh, shut up, Grandpa."
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the stuff.
It's like I'm just trying to say, and that's that, you know. But going back on it, you can take the word bitch. At one point in time, women called themselves bitch. Some women still do out of a certain term of endearment. However, when it's said, it's like you could be, you know what I mean? So it's like it's totally contingent upon environments, times, the time of the decade, where we are socially, what just occurred last week in the headlines. It's like things become sensitive.
I can just
so
feel
quickly.
The limits contracting.
And I just feel like what
gradually.
we should do is just talk to each other more. It shouldn't be that.
But you can't talk to people if the limits of conversation are there. You can't have a true conversation if people are telling you what you're allowed to say in that conversation. You need.
I think you can. I think if we start out a conversation and someone says, "Hey," especially if we already have a rapport and you're familiar with my language, or you're familiar with the general language, you know what I mean? You can say, "Hey, are you aware that this, and the third?" You know, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay. I'm definitely going to put that into practice. And thank you for informing me. I want to respect you. I want us to continue to be friends. All right, if that's how it is, that's how it is. Boom. This doesn't take any skin or slack off of my back. You know, it's that simple. However, if that dialogue is not there, then there's room for both of us to be offended by accident. You know, you could be offended and call me something and be called out, and I had all intentions on, once again, going back to intentions and actions. Those were my actions, and that's how you felt. However, my intentions were. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Is there any material that you used to do that you've stopped doing because people don't accept it anymore?
Ooh, nah, not necessarily. There's maybe a word or two I've changed.
Okay,
but not material. You know what I mean? So nah. And honestly, that's.
Do you like perform everything you ever write? I mean, like I feel like there's some stuff that like, you know, gets thrown in the fucking trash can.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Nah, everything. There's not one joke that I've ever, because you gotta also realize my material and the way that I perform is reenactments. So before, and I think that's kind of a cheat code, because before I take something to the stage, I have to practice it or reenact it. I can see something and immediately go on and do that. That's happened a few times. But for the most part, if I think of it before I'm on stage, then I'm gonna practice it right then. It's like, oh man, did you ever the way that this be happening? And boom, 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 boom. Or the way that this happens, boom, 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 boom. And I'll try to practice it right then and there. Whereas I would say with a joke that's primarily based upon literary skills or just basically based upon words and wordplay and the equation and the rhythm,
Yeah.
then
Of course
you can't practice that. You got to practice that on a. You can practice the rhythm.
Yeah.
You can practice, but then again, the rhythm could change contingent upon. You know what I mean? It's just
That's true.
Contingent upon so many other factors. So it's like that's just what I mean. That's just what me. So no, to answer your question, no, I've never had to change material, and the reason why is because it was kind of how I was raised. Like just like in the comedy scene that I came up in. Let me go on.
Yeah. Now that show you were talking about earlier, what you're saying that was an example of where the crowd just was like not feeling where they were going.
I think what happened was, once again, I do think the comedian was a tad bit offensive.
Sure.
However, this is a comedian that I feel like has said the same or similar jokes before in the same room, and it was accepted. It just so happens that night. And I think it all.
What made it tangible?
First of all, everything that happens on stage is a comedian's fault.
Sure.
There's no way around that. Every single thing that happens on stage is a comedian's fault.
They're the only ones
so
talking.
at the end of the day,
if somebody's like heckling you or something like that, that's
your fault. At the end of the day, it is a comedian's fault that ended up happening, and I say that's a fact. However, once again, those were his actions, but I know for a fact those were not his intentions, and it's just that, on his behalf, I just think he just judged the room kind of wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as comedians, we do that a lot. We could do that by accident.
Dude, there was when we were at that show at Magooby's, there were times.
Also, how are you supposed to like learn
To judge a room?
Yeah, if you don't fuck up a couple times.
I think judging a room has nothing to do with stage time. I think when you judge a room, you literally take out the time to look at damn near. If you got less than 200 people in there, that's great because you can look at 200 faces in, 200 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you need to be able to assess your audience and take quick glances at them and decide whether the deciding percentages. Do I have older people, younger people, women, men, students, very young people, artistic people. You have to consider all these things. Now, the best audience to have is a bit of everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're thinking that this comedian just didn't pull the audible where he should have. He went in there with a game plan and stuck with it.
He literally said he didn't pull the audible when he should have. Yeah, that's all.
Well, there he goes. There you go. I mean?
But however, to his not defense, but to be a comedian first before I'm black, before I'm a man, to be a comedian first. I'm pretty sure that I know that those weren't his intentions. He had no intentions of offending anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We on our scene we literally don't have any comics that are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of guys that may be dickheads and assholes, but that's just them. But we don't have any guys that intentionally are like negative and derogatory like that to one another.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? I just want our scene to continue to grow and blossom, man, because we got a lot of good guys here, man. Yeah, man. And once again, if we talk to each other more and educate each other more, I think that can prevent this from happening in an age where everyone, which is a good thing, is practicing a form of individuality.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing. That's a beautiful thing. However, as you do this, inform me, And if I don't know, then when I do make the mistake, give me a pass the first. Not me necessarily, but anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people offend people and don't know they are offending someone.
Yeah.
They don't know. The rapper Nav just came out and said, I'm never going to say the word nigga again. I didn't know certain fans of mine had an issue with this. Listen, in Toronto, in Canada, when I was growing up, look, all my friends was black. We said nigga. Said nigga. That's just creation. Remember the white girl, the Gucci, like, all that shit. She was like, listen, Oakland, this is where I grew. But she had to stop that. But, it's kind of like, you don't know, but you have to give someone the ability to correct themselves. And I feel like in today's society, a lot of, and I'm just being real, especially me being a black man, we don't have the right to, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, these are like the Salem witch trials of like the internet age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll crucify you.
Good. That was good.
Good job, E. They'll crucify you for anything. And it's like, if you told me that on Tuesdays we weren't supposed to wear green, then I just wouldn't wear green on Tuesdays. It's that simple. It's not like I wasn't trying to disrespect the gang, you know. Just let me know.
Damn.
Speaking of the scene, though, dude, you got the shirt on. Baltimore Comedy
Oh
Festival.
yeah, I did notice
coming
that,
up, dude.
I did notice that. I thought, how come it's not the rat logo?
I mean,
Oh,
there's
man.
two logos,
There's two
dude.
logos.
Is that this year's? Oh,
It's 2 logos for the same year. Yep.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
dope.
this is like the Nike sign. The other
you do
one's
know
like
your
the
fucking
swoosh.
name is. Did you
Yeah,
guys
like
fix
the
that? Because your name's
mascot.
on that poster twice,
Yeah,
dude.
we just did that today. We
I wasn't trying to do it. I think, you know.
Yeah, I
man.
mean, we already fixed it. No need to bring it up.
I know.
Jimmy, but-
Thanks. Cut that out along with a few
Whoops.
other things. But anyway.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I mean to
man,
offend you
we're
guys.
Going good,
Oh,
man.
shit.
I mean, everything's going really well. There's 2 open mics. Everybody's doing a showcase, so everybody has an opportunity to get on stage 2 to 3 times. It's gonna be fun, man. I want guys to network, meet each other. If you end up getting one gig off of, you know, another comic that you met or trading off a show, like, let me come to your room. I'll bring you down to my room.
Did you like book this all yourself? Like, how did you even set it up?
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know this is sponsored by Miller High Life. So we're talking under those circumstances. So anyway, we had 15 venues. It was like how did it conceptualize basically?
I mean, like that's to do what you did to set up a show of that magnitude. You obviously had to do a lot. I'm assuming. Like, what were the steps
man,
you
it
took?
was a lot of plan. All right, so the first thing I was gonna do is I was like, you know what? I should just do a weekend where it's just all my shows at all my different
Classic
venues.
first thought, dude.
And then that's honestly how
Yeah,
it
no,
was.
I know.
I was like, yeah, I should just do it because that would be real cool if I just did all of my, you know. And then I was like, no, I shouldn't, because when I put it on the map, it was like five spots, and I was like, nah, I shouldn't. It's just like immediately, it was almost like 2 + 2 = 4. It was like effortless thought. It was like immediately when I saw it on the map, I was like, hold up, this spot's right here. And then it was around the time I think like he was just finishing up with Reverb or something. I was like, Reverb's right there, and this spot's right here, and the Crown's right there, and then that's right there. And it was like, why don't I share this, you know? And then we turn it into like a real, because what it would be at that point is a festival if we all put our scenes together. And, you know, every producer in the festival is doing like their own thing. I'm not taking any money. I'm not doing anything. It's like you run your show for the festival.
So, okay, when you say producers, do you work like content? What's an example of a
Basically,
producer?
It's just like all the rooms in the city getting together and putting on shows for 1 week.
So it's almost like a restaurant week type deal.
It's like a
pretty
co-op.
much, yeah.
It's like a co-op though, the way that it's ran.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not me that's going around and being like, I'm going to make sure this show. No, it's like.
But you
Yeah.
obviously were the person who contacted all these
organized.
places.
You
That's
organized
awesome.
it, but like,
Thanks,
you
man.
know, like each producer
Yeah, I don't wanna
got
take
their
anything
comics
away
and
from
they
these
picked their
guys.
lineups and stuff.
Yeah, because after
and,
all
you
the
know.
submissions, they had a chance to pick from certain guys, and they did their own lineup. They got their own themes. Like all the producers in the area, from like Mike Quinlan, Dark Mark. It's like these guys, like they do a great job running their show. So it's like, why would I need to? Let's just collectively do something.
Yo, that is actually sick though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not even fucking with that. That's
Yeah, dude. And you had a fucking booth at Artscape, and you know,
They put us on the. They put 3 comedians from the festival on the jumbotron.
Yeah, I heard Eric was telling me that.
Charles and Lafayette. So that was crazy. I was like, people riding by on 83, looking up. I was like,
Yo.
that was crazy. So
yeah, dude.
I just want, what I really want is for, because we have a ton of funny black comedians on the quote unquote urban scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I just want all these guys on the mainstream scene and other scenes and the nerd scene and the other scene and this scene. I just want us all to just start to just communicate. You know what I mean? Start fucking with each other more.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as that happens, Man, this scene is gonna
Go.
Go. It'll be like
100%.
We'll be shuffling guys out of here. It's like
100%.
He's out of here. They're out of Baltimore. He's out of Baltimore. They're out of Baltimore. Yeah, she's out of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like that, man.
That's that shit, dude. Damn.
Thanks though, bro, man. It is a lot of work though, but I mean we doing it though, man. And thus far we're on schedule. Everything's going good.
Yeah. So far, it's gonna happen.
Plan on
it. Pretty much, yeah. So far everything's in place.
Yo.
I spoke to Tony Woods today. He's headlining the festival.
So where's the main? Is there going to be a main stage?
He was the guy that damn near taught Dave Chappelle how to do comedy. I don't know if you know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, only because Eric or somebody said it last week. Umar and Eric were talking about it.
But yeah, it's gonna be fucking lit.
Yeah, that's gonna be